is your favorite personal financial expert, Shani Curry Saintville. And if you are joining us, you are right on the cusp of our series For Love or For Money. So if you haven't seen all the videos about having effective communication, deciding whether or not if it's cheaper to keep her when it comes to throwing around the terms of divorce. And here today, we are going to have an in-depth conversation to kind of dispel the myth, because a lot of times people think the number one reason that couples get a divorce is money. And I have with me here a licensed social worker as well as a relationship counselor. She works with couples as they do their premarital counseling before they get married. And she also works with couples after they get married and they're having a little bit of indecision and a little bit of strife. A little bit is probably loose, right? You're real loose. That's real loose.
Lot of bit.
Just a lot of bit. A big bit.
A
hella bit.
Yeah.
All right. And so what I hope that you put in your purse after watching this episode is some communication, because that is actually the number one reason why couples decide to hit the door. It is not that money, honey.
No.
It's that you acting funny.
Yep.
Lord have mercy. Alrighty. So, of course, this whole series has been packed with a lot of resources, a lot of heart-to-heart talk. So I definitely can't have you pulling up here without having Magda to give you some money. So I want you to open up your spiritual purse, your auntie's purse, your man bag, your wallet, whatever the case may be, and we're going to give you some of that mean green money, honey. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You see? You got any more? All right. It's Valentine's Day. People gonna be buying gifts and stuff, so they need you need
come on, let's go. All right.
Wow. I hope that you feel richer. Every time I connect with you, I feel richer. So I hope that when you tune into these episodes, that you get at least one thing to put into your financial purse that makes you make more practical financial decisions for your purse. And of course, because this is February, we're going to be talking about for love or for money. Alrighty, so let's talk about this.
Let's go.
All right, so let's get into this. People say that the number one reason for a divorce is money. And you're here to tell us what?
No, man, it's communication.
Okay.
It's communication. Oftentimes we look at the tools and we say, the tools that we use for fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And the tools that we use for fighting is the money, is the children, are different things of that nature. But the real core reason is often communication. Now, communication about what? And that's what we're going to get into a little bit also, because it's about love communication. Are we communicating the same love language, right?
Okay.
Or it's communicating expectations, right? Or making assumptions about what our spouse is thinking. And a lot of the time, Shani, what you'll find is there's some underlying trust issues.
Yes.
Many times when you're talking about finances and problems with finance, there's a direct correlation with whether or not there's a strong trust in that relationship.
So usually when we're dealing with money, we're dealing with power. And the whole idea is, can I trust you with this power?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Right?
Okay.
So, for example, let's look at a couple of scenarios. Let's look at the couple, right? Who maybe the woman doesn't work. She chooses to stay at home and work at home.
Right.
Because that is a job in itself.
Yes, it
right?
is.
And
yes.
so the husband goes out and brings the green, the money green into the home. And so it was so that they typically the men controlled what happened with the money and where the money went and what we did with the money. And so if you didn't trust that husband to take care of those finances appropriately, you might find an eviction notice on the door. And you are not a part of the financial game. You don't know. You weren't going over books. And you're like, why do we have an eviction notice on the door? Then you start to find out you were gambling, you were doing this and you were doing that, and bam, there's the broken trust.
Right.
Right? Or now the scenario is, well, there's two people working in the home. There's two people bringing in money in the home. Well, then it goes back to values. It goes back to what's important to me, what's important to you. What are you spending money on? Did we have a conversation? Did I ignore those red flags about money early on because I didn't want to be lonely and I didn't want to be alone? So I kind of overlooked that just to kind of make this work, and we got married, and now it's all coming back and it's blowing up in my face.
Okay.
So
that's really what it is. It's that all that that you just put over here.
All that
you just dumped in my purse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So it's the number one reason is being able to have communication about some of these underlying trust issues, trust with power, trust with allocation.
Yes.
Alrighty. So
trust with love.
Trust with love.
Loving me.
Effectively loving me.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So when we're dealing with the communication, right? And how would you say to these couples that are already in it? They skipped the premarital counseling, or they did do the premarital counseling?
Let me tell you, I'm going to tell your viewers right now.
Okay.
If you are planning on getting married, please do your premarital counseling.
Okay.
It is vital because we go through all of these different things, not only money, but about rearing children, right? About how to handle household responsibilities. Now where we have two people working outside of the home, household responsibilities, it's a different ball game. It's not only the woman's responsibility to do everything, and she works also, and does all these other things. So we have to kind of communicate about those. So it's a whole host of different issues that we deal with in premarital counseling, not only finances. So it's very, very important. So I wanted to make sure.
Don't skip that put that in your purse. Put it in the purse. In the purse.
Put premarital counseling in the purse. Okay, that'll save you money in the long run.
Exactly. Okay, good. So premarital counseling needs to be inside of that purse.
Yes.
And I'm also doing a little bit of research where I'm seeing that those that have actually invested both the time and the money of doing the premarital counseling are having a lesser divorce rate than those parties who decided to skip that part.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because all of the junk that you decided not to pay attention to in the beginning because you were in love, right? Your heart's fluttering and everything's so great.
Yeah.
Right? When that goes away,
Right.
and you wake up next to this person and you're wondering, how did I all of a sudden get $60,000 in debt?
Right.
How are we going to pay for this house? How are we going to pay for this wedding that we just had? And
How are we going to pay for this ring?
How we going to pay for this ring? Because he bought it, but now the debt that he incurred from buying it is your debt too.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So now you have all of these questions. But what the premarital counseling will do is it will bring all of those things in the beginning.
Okay.
And so we're gonna talk about this right now. So we're gonna see if you can cut it right now.
Okay, so let's just say they decide to go ahead and do the premarital counseling. They do it. They come to you, they sit with you, you guys go through it. How many people actually be like, nah, man, I'm straight?
You want the good news?
I want the good news. I want the real news. I want to hear the news.
The real news is the majority of the time, if you have a good counselor, you will end up together. Okay. Because at the end of the day, there is a love, there is a decision to marry a person. And so the counselor will educate you and say, listen, this is a decision you're making. Love is a decision. It's not just this little feeling that just come and then now we're just going to be. No, it's a decision. So when you're not having the, no, you decide to stay married.
Yes.
And so the counselor will help bring up those things and help educate you on how to love past your emotions.
Got
right?
it.
And so,
you are packing my purse,
listen,
honey, with the
this
is in my purse.
I'm trying to
You're
put
trying
it
to put that in the purse.
I'm
Okay, I'm in the purse.
Because I want people to stay married.
Yes.
And so you will find that a lot of the times people will say, okay, I got it now. These are definitely things we needed to handle and deal with up front. Like when your parents or when your friends or your sister, comes and says, I need some money from you. And back then you used to pull out that $1,000 and say, here, sis, no problem. You's married now.
Yeah, I married.
You's married now. So that may not be possible. Your husband might have something to say about that.
Right.
And so how do you handle situations like that? These are all types of scenarios and situations that you would deal with in premarital counseling.
Okay.
But so you didn't go through the premarital.
Let's say you skipped it. You said, no,
You
ma'am,
said,
Pam, I'm going on the honeymoon. I'm
gonna
having the
have
big blast.
Yes. And then now,
Mm-hmm.
right, you found out
Yes.
that he dropped out of law school halfway, right, and didn't finish a law degree. Okay. And he incurred about $80,000 in student loan debts.
Right.
And you found this out because you didn't talk about it before, right? So
Right.
you found this out because you guys went to go buy a house.
Right.
And mortgage company said, no, your debt to income ratio is out of control.
Exactly.
So you can't buy. So you say, well, what debt to income?
What is a
Honey,
DTI?
what is she? Oh, yeah. I meant to tell you, right? I have student loan. And so now we have the can of worms that's open. So how do we deal with that? How do we bring that back into perspective? Or if you're having any financial issues, how do we...
Let's tackle that one. That one's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's
You
a
wanna
great
talk
one.
about
Let's
this?
talk
Okay.
about, let's open that one up a little bit.
And so now how do we deal with that? So that to me is an issue that's really financial based. So there wasn't any underlying necessarily trust issues, but there may be some developing.
Yes.
Why? Because now there's something you
Well,
didn't
there
tell
might
me
have been
about.
some underlying trust issues even with that, because maybe that's why they didn't share it. You
Right.
know, maybe that's why
Okay.
they didn't
Because
share
I didn't
it.
wanna run you
because
off.
I didn't want to run you off, so
Right.
this is why I didn't share it. So here now it is. Okay, bam. So we got this
So we
situation.
got that.
We can't
Okay.
get a house now.
We
How
can't
do
get a
we
house.
how do we deal with this?
Okay, so now you have to decide two things. Number one, are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you unforgiving of that spouse now that you can't move forward in
Okay.
your marriage?
Okay.
If that's the case, you need to go see a counselor.
Okay.
If you can say, okay, you know what? I forgive you for that. Let's find out what we need to do and how we need to move forward. Then I would say, go seek a financial advisor.
Okay.
Go seek someone who can provide you with some coaching. Go pick up some books. Go look at how to tackle that debt head on so you can get to the goals that you
I
would like.
love it. I love it. Okay, so if you found that you've already married your mate, and now you're finding out, hey, you know, maybe this person's credit is not up to par, or maybe they have
Jacked
way
up.
more they have way more student loans. Did you say jacked up? You crazy. This lady's crazy, man. All right, so when you look at their credit, or you look at how many student loans that they have, and you're finding that, you know what, this is way more than what I anticipated. This is way more than I bargained for. You're going to then have to make the decision to either forgive, but you're still angry. If you have forgiven them and you're still angry, then you need to go and sit with a counselor,
right. So
so
we
that
can
they
work
can
through
help
the
work
issues.
through those issues.
Because if we don't, then we put a seed in the ground. Don't
Yes.
put the seeds in your purse. Because what
Don't
do
put the
seeds,
seeds
what
in your
do
purse.
seeds do when you
Hashtag
put them?
no seeds in your purse.
Don't do that,
Got
because
it.
then it's like putting it in the soil. And what happens when you put seed in the soil?
It grows.
It sprouts. Boom. Right
Yeah.
up. And the next thing you know, you have a tree, and now you're calling a lawyer.
Right.
Because you are angry and you just want this, we want a
Wow,
divorce.
this
right?
is incredible.
So no seed. So go deal with that. Go talk to a counselor about that. Go get over that issue. And then we can move forward with the financial advisor.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Okay, that was wonderful. If you got nothing to put in your purse, that was right on the top of it. Okay, so we talked about dispelling the myth, because that's not the number one reason. We've talked about communication. We talked about creating systems. What about some boundaries? What would you give to couples that's tuning in and they're saying, okay, how can we set up some boundaries?
Okay. So what I like to tell couples is take a strength-based approach to your marriage.
Okay.
And so what does that mean? That means maybe my husband is good at cooking. Maybe I'm not the chef. But you know what I'm good at? I'm good with numbers.
Right.
Right? And so you look at the strengths that each other have in the marriage, and then you say, okay, well, you will be in charge of looking at the numbers, and we'll work together.
Okay.
And we'll look at the numbers together, but you're going to be in charge. I can trust you. So for example, in my marriage, I communicate constantly with my husband, but I pretty much manage the money. The bills are paid, and I make sure all that stuff happens on a monthly basis. And he trusts me enough, because every month the lights are on, the
Right.
cell phones are working,
Right.
the water's on,
Yep.
no mortgage notes on the door. And we've been 9 years strong, we're good
Yes.
to go, right?
Amen.
And
Amen.
so I would say take a strength-based approach to your marriage. Look at who is good at what, and then work that way. And then the second thing I would say is just come up with some how would I say that? Some
boundaries,
not
some
boundaries,
restrictions, some guidelines.
Some guidelines.
Some guidelines. All right. Yes, I'm with
Come
you.
up with some guidelines to say, okay, maybe for us, spending over $100 requires a phone call to the other person. Let's do that, right? Or maybe that limit for you, maybe you're balling a little bit, got a little money. Maybe that limit is $500,
right?
You know, and so you have that freedom
Point of contact
to kind of do what you want to do, but then understanding that you still have to be held accountable to your spouse for your behaviors.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. You have packed my purse with some power. I am feeling absolutely great. I hope that those that are tuning in were able to really put some power in their purse as it relates to dispelling some of the myths. Get that junk out of here. It is not about the fact that couples don't make enough money together. It's that they don't know how to talk about the money that they absolutely have, or the lack thereof.
Yes.
Alrighty, so for those that would like to either reach out to you either for premarital counseling or for counseling as a couple, how do they reach you?
Okay, well, you can reach me by phone. That phone number is 305-890-3013, 305-890-3013. Or you can go to my website, which is www.wonderfulcounselorllc.com. That's wonderfulcounselorllc.com. And I am also on social media, Facebook, Magda Demeritt, owner at wonderfulcounselorllc.com. And Twitter, Instagram at DFUL counselor.
Alrighty, I absolutely love it. Again, if you like this video and you felt empowered, you felt like you should have that conversation, or you need to run down to Magda and get yourself some marriage counseling, or you need to have a conversation with me because you know what? Hey, we're kind of jacked. I want to see how we can work through this. We are financially, jacked, but we love each other. We want to continue to raise our families together. We want to continue to build our community together, and we want to build wealth together. Then for sure you should reach out to me. But in the interim, I need you to do 3 things. If you really, really, really felt like we put some power in your purse. Number 1, I need you to like this video. I need you to drop a comment. I need you to share the video with someone that you know could be talking about, is this for love or for money? I'm Shawnee Curry St. Ville. It is absolutely wonderful connecting with you. Feel love, give love, be love.